Coming up in this episode, Jordan Abdul signs a new contract with HKR. Old Trafford could find itself being replaced for the grand final. Cas boss admits they're losing outside back at the end of the year. And French World Cup referee banned a long time. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to continue seeing more. Well, we start off today's episode with that has four stories in it, should I say, with the news that HKR has re-signed Jordan Abdul to a new 2-year contract extension, keeping him at the club until the end of the 2026 season. Abdul, who originally spent a year at the Robins on loan in 2017, has been a key figure in the squad since moving to the club in the 2020 season. Making over 50 appearances for the club since joining, Jordan will now be looking to kick on in his career as he looks to build on a promising 2023. Abdul, who is known for his towering bombs that have put many aside under pressure throughout this season, was vocal about his future and how he wants to put his injuries behind him and push on now with the Robins. I spoke to Willie about how I see myself moving forward at the club with all the stuff off the field, new board, and some of the results we're starting to get on the field now. Also, the people we're recruiting for next year, it's an exciting time at the club. With my quad, for 2 seasons in a row, I missed a heap of games. It's time I give something back to the club. They've invested in me for the next 2 years, 3 years. The challenge I have set myself is to play as often as I can and as well as I can. HKR head coach Willie Peters is delighted that Abdul has signed an extension with the Robins and knows his qualities as a half. He's shown how important he is to our team, but also where he is mentally. He's in a good place and he knows he's going into the best years of his career, and I'm glad he's staying with us. He's a deeper thinker of the game, which you need from a half. What I like about him is that he's calm, but he's direct with his communication and what he wants from the team. Abdul is one of those rare breeds who have crossed the divide of Hull to join the Robins from the Black and Whites. He was also on loan at the London Broncos during his rugby league career, which saw him took off as a player. He has now got 123 Super League games behind him with 29 Super League tries, after making his debut against Wakefield Trinity for Hull FC in 2014. It was a away trip that day, but now he's a firm, staunch Robin and he's happy to have signed that new contract. Abdul is definitely a prized possession for Hull KR, and the Robins will be looking to Abdul to produce more with his wand of a left boot to cause more Super League teams the pain that it's already given out over the next few seasons. Now we move on to that news of Castleford Tigers head coach admitting that an outside back will leave the Super League club after not being offered a new contract. Last, who is looking to steer the ship Castleford back in a positive direction, which did help with the win against Leeds at Magic Weekend, is looking to do what all this time of the year all clubs are trying to do, should I say, this time of year. With every Super League club wheeling and dealing in a bid to build their 2024 squads, Castleford are prepared to let Niall Evalds go, who has been linked with a move to Hull KR, as well as every outside back in the competition. So we'll have to see how this goes, but at this time he's still a Castleford player, but there's no firm links. For Castleford head coach Last, though, it was a tough decision not to hand Evalds a new contract, but it is part and parcel of rugby league nowadays. It's a tough one with Niall, We haven't seen the best of him in 2 years. I have been on board here, last said. We're not in a position at the moment to make him an offer because he is not playing. We need to make sure we cut our cloth accordingly and spend our budget wisely. The fact he isn't playing makes it tough. When those contracts aren't given out and you go past that deadline, other teams are able to make an offer to him. He's a good player and a good kid, but it makes it difficult to stake a claim to invest X amount of money into this player who hasn't been out on the field. Evalds, who has played just 17 games in the last 18 months for Castleford, has been sidelined with a long-term pectoral injury, and he may not play again this season. The fullback is on KR's radar as he approaches the end of his contract, with Willie Peters confirming the club's interest on Wednesday. The outside back is now 29 years old and coming close to possibly his last contract in rugby league as a player. Has a career from 2013 where he played for Salford Red Devils for 159 games, while being on loan at Oldham for 1 game, 5 games at Barrow and 2 games at Halifax during that period. Castleford has seen him play 34 games since 2021 in total, scoring 9 tries. He's also got 2 England Knights appearances to his name, as well as 1 England international appearance. In the game against France at the Stade Gilbert Brutus on October 2021, he played in the same team as one Jordan Abdull. We now come to the story about Manchester United's Old Trafford, as it could find itself being replaced as the host venue of the Grand Final with one of their arch rivals and arch enemies poised to snatch the event from under their nose. The famous stadium has hosted the event since 1998, with St Helens proving to be the most successful side, lifting the trophy on 9 occasions. But having hosted the Grand Final on 24 of the last 25 occasions, the odd year when the Hull's MKM Stadium hosted in 2020 behind closed doors due to the COVID pandemic, Old Trafford could now lose the event. With attendances on the decline in the past years, and because the event, in some eyes, is in need of a fresh light, talks are being held about a potential switch in venues. Indeed, with the RL commercial based at the Etihad campus, the event could find itself switching to the home of Manchester City in the coming years. To that end, discussions are underway about moving the Grand Final and or the Magic Weekend across Manchester from United City. Any switch could not come into effect until 2025, with Old Trafford contracted to stage the event for this season and the next. However, Rodri Jones, the managing director of Rugby League Commercial, admitted discussions are being held. Jones said on the BBC 5 Live podcast, "It is something we're looking at. Our contract with Old Trafford runs to the end of 2024. There are clear ownership changes, should I say, and a potential with the stadium development too. The contract at the moment does talk about the stadium developments. We have a level of comfort that if anything was to happen in the next 18 months, that we are safe and covered and can stay there. But again, just because we've done it for the last 25 years doesn't mean it's the right thing for us." He went on to comment explaining the thought process behind a possible switch. He cited more modern facilities are available at the Etihad. There is a stadium across the city which you would argue is a bit more modern and a bit more of a spectator-friendly venue, Jones added. The fact that we are based at the Etihad Stadium, we have dialogue with them, but it's not just the Grand Final we're talking to them about. We talk to them about all sorts of things, including a potential Magic Weekend and a potential new event, just to see if there is an interest there for them to host a rugby league event. We will see where we go on the grand final. Fans are certainly used to travelling to Manchester for the annual showpiece, so it would be no hardship travelling to the Etihad as opposed to Old Trafford. And staging the game in the blue half of Manchester could also potentially generate a new level of interest among neutrals, considering going to the match in the long run. Some may think it's a win-win for Super League if the decision is made to switch it. It's not one I've really considered, to be fair, and Old Trafford has been good for rugby league. It's hosted World Cup international finals. It's hosted World Cup rugby league internationals as well. Now, losing Old Trafford might mean that we're losing part of our identity, as it's connected with rugby league as well. But sometimes we have to change. You see it with the Australian Rugby League grand final. It is dotted about here, there and everywhere. And moving across the Etihad, while it's not a major distance, should I say, it will mean that rugby league will have a new look to it. Magic Weekend has been thought of fondly by those that visited the Etihad in the past, so yeah, might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, don't know, we'll have to see. And finally, in our last story, a match official from the Rugby League Wheelchair World Cup final has been suspended until January the 1st, 2026, after being found guilty of misconduct. It was a controversial display from Laurent Abrial, with his antics on the touchline captured on live BBC coverage of the final at Manchester Central last November. England went on to be claimed champions of the world following their 28 points to 24 victory over France, which seemed to physically frustrate Abrial, who appeared to vent his frustration at the decision made by the lead referee and was seen on two separate occasions making gestures while waiting for conversions to be taken. Another video went viral from this final, all showing the confrontation between Abrial and World Cup tournament director Dean Hardman after the final whistle. This has now seen him being suspended from officiating in international rugby league matches until the 1st of January 2026. An international rugby league statement confirmed the outcome of the investigation on Friday, confirming the long suspension as well. It read, an International Rugby League Misconduct Committee chaired by Kareem Khan and consisting of Uriah Rennie and Adam Cox found Mr. Abrial had breached the international rules code of conduct, should I say, and brought the game into disrepute through inappropriate, unprofessional and unacceptable behaviour during and after the game, including obscene gestures that could have incited the crowd and whose conduct was prejudicial to the interest of both International Rugby League and French Federation Rugby 13. Mr. Abrial accepted that he had committed misconduct and expressed his regret for his actions. Mr. Abrial has until Monday the 19th of June to lodge an appeal. It wasn't the only controversy that overshadowed England's momentous victory. France's head coach Sylvain Krsmanovic used both his pre-match and post-match press conferences to voice his displeasure at the nature of the sport, criticising the impact of able-bodied players. He said that it caused the game to be more violent and increase the impact, which may put off disabled people participating from the sport. Teams are allowed 2 able-bodied players on the court at any one time, which is part and parcel of the rules, and they knew this going into it. Despite the criticism from the French officials, rugby league in the wheelchair sense has taken on a new impetus in the UK, definitely, with more and more wheelchair clubs from Edinburgh all the way down to London, where the Roosters had already played, to start up and participate in the sport, which is only going to be positive for the future. And with that, I'll end the episode there. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking on that notification bell for any updates or new videos that may be coming your way in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts are on today's episode in the comment section below, as it's open for business for you, me and everyone to have that discussion. There has been some very, very good discourse, but everyone is welcome to be included. Is there something we're missing out? Get involved. I'll try and talk to you about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide, and I'll end the episode as I always do by wishing you all the very best. So please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.